South Africa has officially launched a new era of efficiency and security of travel. I'm Leon Schreiber, the Minister of Home Affairs for South Africa, here to introduce the Electronic Travel Authorisation, or ETA, which makes traveling to our country faster and easier while using cutting-edge technology to make South Africa more secure. This is more than a digital visa. It is the foundation of a new digital immigration system that proves we do not have to choose between better service delivery and stronger security. We are delivering both. It all begins before you even leave home. The ETA brings the travel authorization process directly to you, wherever you are in the world. Simply visit the ETA platform at eta.dha.gov.za and begin your application online. No embassy visit, no paperwork, no standing in a queue. A process that used to depend on paperwork is now digital from start to finish. Create your secure profile, enter your details, and verify your information. The process is simple for the traveler, but behind that simplicity is a powerful new security system. Using your mobile device, securely scan your passport and complete a quick biometric selfie. Advanced biometric technology verifies that you are who you say you are, while machine learning helps identify fraud and risk before a traveler even reaches our shores. Once approved, your ETA is available digitally on your device. Save it to your mobile wallet and you are ready to travel. No paperwork to carry. Your secure digital journey to South Africa has already begun. The same secure digital identity created at home now travels with you all the way to beautiful South Africa. When you arrive, the experience is just as seamless. Present your ETA and complete a quick biometric verification. Within moments, your identity is securely matched against the information already captured by the system. Faster for legitimate travelers, stronger against fraud and abuse. Welcome to South Africa. And the ETA does not stop working once you have arrived. If you are eligible to extend your visitor's visa for another 90 days, you can do so through the same secure platform. No paperwork, no queues. And this is only the beginning. The ETA will progressively extend to additional visa categories as we build a fully digital immigration system. Travel to South Africa has never been easier or more secure.
Mobility and migration management in South Africa. Today's launch of the ETA represents a quantum leap forward for our country's immigration system, both by unlocking economic growth through tourism, investment, and legitimate travel, and by landing a decisive blow against visa fraud and illegal immigration. Mr. President, allow me to briefly introduce some of the ETA's key features on both the economic and security fronts. The process begins by a traveller registering a profile on the website eta.dha.gov.za, which includes one-time PIN verification of their cell phone number and email address. The traveller then scans their passport and uploads a selfie. Through biometric technology, our platform compares their passport photo to their facial photograph, confirming that they are the same person. The algorithm also automatically scans their passport, checking over 40 different parameters to verify that it is an authentic document. Once payment has been made, the ETA uses automated risk analysis to identify indicators of fraud or risk at a speed and scale that no human being could ever achieve. If the application is approved, the traveller will receive their ETA within 24 hours, which they can then store directly in the digital wallet on their smartphone. I think it's worth acknowledging the scale of the shift from those delays we've seen over so many years to something where we commit to turnaround time of 24 hours. Once an approved traveller arrives at the immigration counter, they are again required to look into a camera where biometric verification enables us to confirm that the person standing at our border is the same person who received authorization to travel to our country.
All right, let's stay with the story and speak to BMA Commissioner Dr. Michael Masiabati. Good evening to you, Doc, and thank you so much for your time. It's, listening to the minister speak there, quite interesting just to hear how technology is now coming into the fray. It's something that you've been talking about for quite some time, but perhaps let's start with how fast and how far does this go to assist you when it comes to the work that needs to be done?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Bongiwe, and we really appreciate this opportunity as the Border Management Authority. Yes, Bongiwe, this is a game changer in as far as border management is concerned. If we can maybe just indicate that the previous mechanisms, as you will know, it has been a bit of a challenge in terms of people applying for visas, the processes that had to be undertaken, mainly by people having to look through a number of papers and make determination about people having to be given those visas or not, and all of that. But the most critical part in the front end, and that is the area where we operate from as the Border Management Authority, is the fact that when the people arrive at the front end, we had to do some kind of manual verification of the legitimacy of those visas and all of that. And in certain instances, as you know, we were confronted with a lot of fraudulent visas and all of that. But what ETA is basically now doing is that we then have a process wherein everything is automated. The people apply, as the minister had indicated in the clip. They make an application, and then basically they take their face as a facial recognition mechanism, and also they take a picture of their passport, so that there is that bit of comparison in the back end. And of course, the AI in the system is able to do the verification of the individual and all of that. The good thing is when the person then arrives at the port of entry, the first thing the person does is basically just to look at the camera, and then through that facial recognition, the system is able to populate in terms of the entire biographic data of that individual, and ultimately that is verified against the passport, and on that basis the person is basically given authorization to enter the Republic. So that is basically the essence, and for us as the Border Management Authority, is a game changer in the front end.
And given the concerns that we've seen as far as corruption in the system is concerned, and I see that there's a view here that it minimizes human error, but how far does it go to make sure that the system is foolproof as far as corruption is concerned?
Yeah, so Bongiwe, it definitely goes very much far. Maybe let me just also give a very practical example. You will remember we have been too much reliant on a passport. For example, in terms of passport stamping. In this particular process, we do not even have to worry about having to stamp the passport. The person's face is the ultimate biometric that becomes a fundamental identifier for that particular individual. So on that particular basis, the system is the one that facilitates the person's movement, and no longer much of a discretion in terms of an individual. We still obviously engage the travelers in terms of the immigration questions as to how long are they going to stay in the country, do they have money to sustain themselves, where are they going to be staying. Those are fundamental global based immigration questions that we ask. But in terms of the rest of the other processes, they are being done in the back end, and the system is able to do that authorization. So for us, what becomes critical is if the system rejects an individual, either because the passport is not valid or either because the person is not the actual person that is carrying the ETA, there is no way that person will then be facilitated in the system. So the system overrides, which used to be one of the biggest challenges that we had actually faced, is no longer applicable in this instance. And of course, on that basis, the authenticity of the person is based on their face, which is the key biometric in this instance.
When it comes then to the piloting that you would have done, just take us through some of what you've been able to see there, but also, is it now rolled out across all the platforms?
Yeah, so basically what we have done, Bongi, we started, remember, during the G20 summit in the past year, around September, October. So during that particular period, we actually put in a pilot, mainly at OR Tambo. We put some at Lanseria, and then we put some at Cape Town International, and of course some at Kinshasa. So we basically started at the airport, and on that basis, we were then able to process the individuals out of those particular countries that were selected for pilot purposes. I mean, China is one of those, India is one of those, and we had to identify these countries where there is a lot of people that comes through into the country for tourism purposes. So on that basis, we can confirm that during the entire period since last year to now, everything has been going very much well. We've been able to deal with all of the other technical challenges that we were able to pick up as we went along, and on that basis, we are very much comfortable that the system is stable. Therefore, after the launch by the president today of the system, the next step is to make sure that we start rolling it out into the rest of the other environments where we operate, mainly in terms of the land ports and ultimately into the seaports, and of course to the rest of the other outstanding airports, as it were. So once we are able to roll it out in the rest of the other ecosystem, more and more countries will be added in terms of the system, and on that basis we will completely move out of everything manual and everything is going to be automated. It will also be very much helpful, Bongiwe, to deal with issues of illegal migration, because the system is fairly automated to the extent that when it gives you the days to enter the country, that particular day, those particular days are calculated by the system. And when your days are about to expire, it sends you a message and say you have a few days now remaining in the Republic, you are meant to exit. All of these things put together will definitely assist us to deal with the scourge of corruption, which we know has been very problematic in our space.
All right, before I let you go, let's talk about, the processes of deportation and if there are any updates, because I know at some point there had to be a shutting down of the operations that were currently taking place to try and assist some of those who wanted to return home. But getting the signal that your work continues. So is there any update in that regard from yourselves?
Yeah, maybe the latest we can indicate, as we were also briefing the portfolio committee on Home Affairs yesterday, the latest figures in terms of the repatriations as well as the deportations that we've been able to effect, starting from the 7th or so of June, we talk about over 89,000 individuals that we've been able to process. The majority of them, just over almost 50 plus thousand of those are the Malawians that were able to process at Beitbridge border post, followed by the Zimbabweans, and then we have obviously some bit of Mozambicans processed at Libombo, and we also still had the Ghanaians, the Nigerians that were fairly processed at OR Tambo. So all in all, we can say that is the number that we are sitting at, and from where we sit as the Border Management Authority, we continue to deal with those people that come at the port of entry for the purposes of either repatriation or even deportation that we are able to process. In terms of the temporary repatriation center in Musina, as the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee on Migration, Minister Kubai had indicated, there has been a scaling down of operations at that particular environment, and as we continue to do the work, the less and less people that are coming through there now is averaging at around 1,000 or so. We are then able to get them processed and get them out accordingly. So otherwise, everything is going according to plan, Bongiwe.
Appreciate your time, Dr. Michael Masiapatu. There is the Commissioner for the Border Management.
Let's make this very simple. ETA stands for Electronic Travel Authorization. Think of it as a digital pre-travel permission connected to your passport, instead of the traveler depending entirely on a traditional paper-based visa process. Eligible travelers can use the digital platform to submit their information online. According to South Africa's official ETA portal, the system is intended for eligible visa-required travelers coming for tourism or visitor purposes, while visa-exempt travelers can also use an ETA where applicable to facilitate more efficient processing. However, don't make the mistake of telling your audience that every foreign traveler automatically needs an ETA. Eligibility depends on nationality, passport type, purpose of travel, and the applicable South African immigration requirements. That distinction is extremely important. The ETA wasn't created overnight. South Africa initially rolled out the system to travelers from China, India, Indonesia, and Mexico. The Department of Home Affairs said the initial rollout was connected to the G20 period and was later opened to tourists from those countries. By May 2026, Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber said the system had already processed more than 75,000 applications, with more than 71,000 approvals and almost 4,500 rejections. Then, in July, the minister said the platform had processed more than 203,000 applications and identified more than 5,700 fraudulent applications. That tells you something important. This is not just about convenience. South Africa is also using the technology as part of its immigration security strategy. Now let's talk about what travelers actually need to do. According to the official ETA portal, the process includes several key steps. Step 1. Passport. The traveler provides a photo or information from the passport they intend to use. Step 2. Application form. They answer questions about themselves and their trip. Step 3. Biometrics. The applicant takes a live picture of themselves. Step 4. Payment. Where applicable, the relevant application fee is paid. Step 5. Submission. The application is submitted and an outcome is provided through the system. The government says the system uses machine learning, document verification, and biometric technology to improve the processing and security of applications. Why is South Africa doing this? There are several reasons. Number 1. Convenience. Instead of forcing eligible travelers to rely on lengthy paper processes, applications can be handled digitally. Number 2. Tourism. South Africa wants to make it easier for legitimate tourists to visit the country. Number 3. Security. Digital verification can help authorities detect suspicious or fraudulent documents earlier. Number 4. Modernization. The ETA forms part of the government's broader Home Affairs at Home digital transformation program. The government has described the system as a major reform of South Africa's immigration process. And please listen carefully if you're planning to travel. There are now multiple digital travel processes operating around South Africa's borders. For example, SARS introduced a separate online traveler declaration requirement from July 1st, 2026 for travelers entering or leaving South Africa. This is related to customs declarations, such as goods and currency, and should not be confused with the ETA, so there you have it. South Africa is taking another major step toward a digital immigration system with the Electronic Travel Authorisation. But remember, ETA requirements are not automatically the same for everybody. Your nationality, passport, purpose of travel, and immigration status matter. If you're planning a trip to South Africa, don't guess. Check the official requirements before you travel. And if this update helped you understand what's happening, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because